Welcome to Paranormal Gumbo with your hosts, Angel and Aaron.
Hey, welcome to Paranormal Gumbo. This is Aaron.
And this is Angel.
Where we talk about all things paranormal and try to add a little dose of humor.
A big dose of humor.
There you go.
Here we go with another episode of Paranormal Gumbo. This is our 13th episode.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Man.
Too bad we couldn't record it on Friday.
I know, right? Shit.
That would have been cool.
So, sorry for the absence, people.
Yeah, I've been really sick, so we're a little splotchy on our recording lately.
Yep,
so,
yeah,
and I think that I'm well, and things are going to go okay, and we won't miss any more time. But yeah, knocking on wood
right there.
With the health issues that I have, I'm not 100% yet. So if we may have to miss a little bit more time, but hopefully not. Hopefully we'll be back on schedule now.
Yeah, we're going to try our best not to do that anymore.
If I can just stay out of the hospital.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe we can bring all the recording shit to the hospital.
Hey, that would work.
Yeah. In a nice, sterile environment. You hear some people dying in the background.
Yeah,
maybe we get some EVP shit.
Oh, we would definitely get some EVP shit.
Maybe we could get some good EVP stuff.
Hospitals are very haunted.
Yeah, there's a place I don't want to go to. It's the old Biloxi Hospital. I'd like to try to go in there and do some EVP stuff, maybe some video recording. I know that place is haunted.
Yeah, my mother actually worked there for a little while.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I thought she was always in like Ocean Springs and Pascagoula.
She was working a second job there for a little while.
Okay.
So it was like just... I think she worked there about a month is all.
Yeah.
It wasn't long.
Did she have any experiences?
No, but, I don't think she probably had enough time to notice it. She was a nurse, so she was running her booty off.
Well, it's probably a little bit different when there's people in the hospital. But a buddy of mine was a dispatcher for DMR, and he would, he'd have to work late at night. You get off at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. So, I'm the night owl. When I was working in Ocean Springs at the police department, I would get off work and, on days when I didn't have work, I've got to stay up at night. That way I can keep the proper sleep schedule. I'd go hang out with him for a little bit in this old hospital that's now like a fully functioning office building. But at 1 o'clock in the morning, there's no one there except for him. So sometimes I'd like go take a piss or something, and I could hear footsteps behind me.
Oh, yeah.
Or I could hear people talking, hear people crying and shit like that. And one time I thought I saw something moving. I was like, oh, yeah. That's when I went back. I'm like, hey, buddy. Hey, boo. Got a question for you, buddy. Is this place haunted? He's like, oh, fuck yeah, it's haunted. Yeah, this place is haunted as shit.
Yeah, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find a hospital that's not. I know just, the hospitals I've worked at on night shift, some weird stuff happens, and then I have actually had, patients who weird stuff happens with them as well. So we'll talk about that one day. We'll cover maybe some haunted hospitals. We want to go to this hospital you're talking about and investigate. Maybe we can talk about some of my hospital stories because they are amazing.
Yeah, well, we haven't really covered ghosts yet.
No, and we need to.
We need to badly because one of the guys that I know with Never Ready Media was telling me last night that he actually has an experience at Josette's.
That's an old place. It's a costume shop.
It's a costume shop.
Yeah,
is what
it's very old. I don't even know when they opened, but I think they've been here since. They've been open since like the 50s or something. I think
been forever.
Probably.
And he was telling me a story, and we'll try to get him on here. His name's Ricky. We'll try to get him on here, and he can tell us his experience, what happened. He's one of those that he's like, oh, I don't believe in ghosts. So I'm like, well, we're going to make a believer out of you because with the shit we're going to get into, and we're going to try to do some things with Never Ready Media. With the shit we're going to get into, he's going to definitely believe. We're going to change his mind about some stuff.
Yeah, they're going to be our film crew because Aaron and I are ignorant that way.
And I know how to point a camera, but...
Yeah, well, you're ignorant. We're ignorant together.
I know how to point a
So they're going to be our camera crew, and we're going to try to get some good investigation type stuff going on.
So if you're hearing this and you know of a place that we can get into and do some video and some EVP stuff, let us know.
Let us know, but it really right now would have to be in the southern area, South Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama area, maybe even Florida.
Yeah, we're not going to go to. I know we have fans in Wales and the UK and stuff like that. I would love to go there and do some shit over there, but
awesome.
Yeah, can't do that just yet.
No, but maybe one day.
Yeah.
So if you feel like it, donate on our PayPal. We've got it on our website.
Did you like that segue?
We can try to see if we can go to some cooler places and get some better equipment for.
I want to go to Ireland and find one of those mermaids.
Yeah. Do you think that was real? That Irish mermaid video? I don't know. I kind of have a hard time believing, of course, anything like that. But they did sound genuinely surprised.
I mean, well, I can. I sound like Linda from Bob's Burgers.
You kind of do. Well, that is a guy. So.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he does good. I love that show.
You need to act surprised, Linda.
So sometimes we get comments, about getting off track too much. So let's try to get back on track. Let's talk about the paranormal news. We actually have quite a bit this week that's going on. Aaron, you want to head us off that way?
Well, this week in the paranormal, Tom DeLonge released 3 videos of UFOs that basically the Navy has come forward and said, hey, they're real. So what does that mean, Angel?
They're aliens.
UFOs are real people.
Well, there have to be aliens, we know from, like we've talked about before. Yeah. But I guess technically there could be UFOs from other countries, but that's really doubtful because if there are other countries with that kind of technology. I'm sorry, we're leaders in technology in the U.S. We would know more about it, and we don't. So obviously, we're starting to see our little alien friends.
Yeah, and it's about to happen.
We're about to find
within
out.
10 years, I'm going to call it right now. What's today's date? Oh, hey, it's September 20th, 2019. You know what else happened today, right? We'll get into that in just a second. September 20th, 2019. Within 10 years, we're going to have aliens on Earth that we all know about.
I agree.
It's just too mainstream now.
Yeah, I would probably even say within 5 years.
I was going to say 5 years, but I'm going to go ahead and give them 10. Yeah. Because you know how the government likes to drag their ass.
But, that's true. But I noticed that you're starting to have so many stragglers in the government that are just kind of going against the government and saying, hey, I work for the government and this is what I think. And, so we'll see. We'll see. So, Storm Area 51 happened today.
Yes.
Fortunately, it was more like a small shower on Area 51.
Of the, 2 million people that said they were going, maybe 100 showed up.
Or so.
150.
Yeah. A light shower even. Just a small, maybe
got a lot
sprinkle.
Of pictures. No one stormed, as far as I know. Maybe I think there were
a couple
2 people
that were arrested.
2 or 3 people that were arrested.
I don't know what dumb shit they were doing to get arrested. I didn't really read. They looked. It just didn't hold my attention long enough to read the story.
Sadly, no. I was hoping maybe it would turn into an every year thing, but with 150 people out of 2 million showing up, I don't see it happening again next year.
You know what I didn't find out, though? They were supposed to have the alien stock thing yesterday in Las Vegas. I wonder how that went.
I haven't heard anything about it.
Me either. It must not have really too much happened. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they were hoping 2 million people would show up in Vegas and, 150 people, kind of drove through the area and they didn't even notice.
Probably.
Yeah.
So, another thing interesting in the news, the Chinese have a moon rover called the U-22 moon rover, which why there's 2 2s in there, I'll never know.
Why not, man? Bodie McBoatface.
U-22. Anyway, so it's on the dark side of the moon, and it's basically exploring the side of the moon that nobody has ever explored before.
I'm pretty sure it's been explored, but
no, it hasn't.
Really?
It really has not.
Why not?
Well, because we just haven't done it. But the Chinese,
that is
that's what's so amazing about them doing this now.
I figured, we would have already had shit,
Not on the dark side.
Maybe it's because, it's kind of hard to get, a satellite out there orbiting the moon and, bouncing shit off of it. But, I mean, still, you could fly something around it, taking a shit ton of pictures.
Maybe, but then, there are people that don't even believe we got to the moon, so...
So here's my thing about that. I joke around about, the moon landing was fake. But if the moon landing was fake, Russia would have been like, hey, guys, we know that you guys didn't go to the moon. They would have come forward. How would they have not known? We were in a space race to get to the moon.
But they would. I mean, they could have been fooled just like anybody else.
No, I'm pretty sure that they were able to confirm somehow that we landed on the moon.
And we're getting off track again.
Yeah. Why are you fighting me on this? We've been to the moon, Angel.
I believe we've been to the moon. I do believe we've been to the moon. There was a time when I wasn't so sure, but I do believe we've been to the moon. Yeah, I mean,
there's a bunch of shit out there that's like, hey, what the hell? Yeah. Maybe we didn't go to the moon. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure we made it.
I think now, and honestly, it's a moot point because obviously China's on the moon. There have been other countries on the moon. It's kind of, what's the point? On the did we land on the moon thing, here's one thing that's like making me think maybe we didn't. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, yeah, well, it's going to be so much harder for us to make it to the moon now, to land someone on the moon now. It's like, why? It's been 50 freaking years. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Why would it be so much harder now with the technology that we have? I love the infographic that says we've got more technology in our smartphones than they had to land on the moon. I saw that. So that's pretty cool.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Why would it be that much harder?
I don't know. There's so many things that don't add up with our government. There really are. We could get into tons of conspiracy theories. What?
Nothing. I'm just messing with Roger. He yawned or something over there. Oh. By the way, Angel's husband Roger is here, so if you hear any spooky sounds in the background, it's probably him.
It's him and his gassy self.
Yeah.
So, anyways, what's interesting about this moon rover is they actually found a substance on the dark side of the moon that they reported to be a gel-like substance.
Oh, okay.
If this is truly a gel-like substance, then that will change everything because we know of nothing that would be gel-like on the moon at this point. But most scientists seem to think that there was some sort of a misunderstanding in the
so they misinterpreted gel into something else.
And it was really supposed to be a glass-like substance.
Okay.
So, but we don't know that because the Chinese haven't really said a whole lot. NASA doesn't work with the Chinese very well. There's a lot of tension there. There's a lot of secrets, and so we really don't know. I don't know if we'll ever know. Yeah. But they actually. The first thing that came to my mind was tardigrades. Mm-hmm. But this isn't where they had the crash. So, no tardigrades.
Maybe they migrated.
No tardigrades anyway.
Maybe they migrated. You don't know. You never know.
Doubtful.
I mean, those nasty little boogers could be there by now.
They could be, I guess, huh? Maybe. We'll find out. Maybe not. But anyways, basically, so they speculate that it's actually glass. And if it's glass, that's no big deal because there's glass that's been found on the moon. Asteroids hit the moon, and the atmosphere outside, in space is cool, so it turns into glass. Yeah. So now, some of the scientists that I read were saying, well, maybe it's ice. Maybe it's water ice, which would be interesting because they're just starting to map where they think water ice is on the moon. And water ice is just ice made from water as opposed to any other kind of substance. But there's a scientist, and I'm going to butcher his name, I'm sure. But
you need to practice these.
Shui Li, who is, he leads a study at the University of Hawaii. And he is actually the lead over this whole water ice on the moon. Yeah. Mapping, and I actually got in touch with him, and he said that no, there was no way that it could be water ice because where this was found, it's too warm to be water ice. Yeah. So if
I can see that,
you may read that, but that's not possible. Yeah. So hopefully we'll find more out soon. I kind of doubt it, but we'll see.
Hey, you never know. We'll figure something out.
Yeah.
I hope it's jail.
That would be cool. Because,
just to throw a loop and everything. I mean, come on. How awesome would that shit be? That'd be fantastic.
Seriously, it'll be like the Blob.
Pretty much. Just imagine when they bring a piece of it back and it becomes sentient. tries to take over the world. Yeah. It's like, I've already taken over the moon. Now I'm coming for you boys.
Like, what is it, Futurama, where it has those blob creatures? And,
I love that show.
Yeah.
That's such a freaking fantastic show.
Except for the episode where he had his, with the dog.
With the dog?
Oh.
There's several episodes of that show that are just like freaking heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
Like the one where he finds out that his brother never gave up on him.
Oh.
Like Fry goes missing, and his brother names his son, his firstborn son, after him.
Yeah.
I'm like, look, I'm getting goosebumps thinking about that shit right
sad.
now. It's freaking heart-wrenching.
But the dog gets me more than anything.
The dog. Yeah, it's like,
Poor dog.
I know, he waited for you, Fry.
Yep.
And then, like, he doesn't clone him. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be the same, though.
Well, no, it would have been exactly the same.
No, it wouldn't be the same because it's not the same being. I mean, it's the same physical being, but it's not the same.
Okay,
I can't believe we're debating this.
It's been a while since I've seen the episode, but when they cloned it, didn't they say that it would have all of the memories of the original?
I don't remember,
And
but
if
it
that's
still
the
wouldn't
case,
have the same spirit as the original.
It's a cartoon.
But we're debating cloning anyways in this cartoon, so you can't come at me and say it's a cartoon when you're saying that it's going to have the same characteristics and memories.
Why they didn't clone in the cartoon. That made me sad.
All right, so next in news.
Yep.
I'm going to butcher this name too. I know I am, but a lot of people don't know his name, but you're going to know what you'll know him about. You've seen him.
I'm pretty sure more people know his name than you think.
They may. Say it. Can you say it?
Yeah, I'm not looking at it.
Michio Kaku.
Michio Haku.
It starts with a K.
Yeah, maybe their K's are silent.
Anyways, so
I'm sorry, guy.
That is
Please forgive
the Japanese physicist who we all see on TV. He's a very smart man. He is at the top of his game. Basically, he stood up at the UFO World Congress in Barcelona, Spain, and he said, I'm going to read what he said. He said, it used to be that believers had to prove that these objects were from an intelligent race in outer space. Now the burden of proof is on the government to prove they're not from intelligent beings in outer space. The possibility that they are vehicles from other planetary civilizations now has to be put on the table. We now know they fly between Mach 5 and Mach 20. 5 to 20 times the speed of sound.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty damn fast.
We know they zigzag so fast that any pilot would be crushed by centrifugal force, that they have no exhaust that we can see. So that right there tells you it's not from another country.
Yeah.
Because the pilots would be crushed.
Yeah, so not only that, but a clean burning fuel.
He believes that they're aliens.
What about a clean burning fuel?
Yeah.
I mean, he's talking about basically clean burning fuel.
We don't know anything about any of that at this point. Yeah. So, okay, well, that is the news.
Gotcha.
So, our show today is about the Luguru.
Luguru.
The Luguru and the Luguru. It's the same thing.
Some people say Loop-guru.
It's not Loop-guru.
I know.
But, yes, some people do say the Loop-guru. And I will probably catch myself saying it at some point tonight, too.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. All right, so Luguru is French, mm-hmm. and it's actually interesting because we all know Lou is wolf. Mm-hmm. That's no biggie, but the garou part, it's interesting because you would think it meant like man, like mm-hmm. wolf man or something, but it doesn't. It means man who turns into wolf. So it's a wolf man who turns into wolf. So I thought that was kind of funny.
That's pretty nice. That's awesome. I like that.
So Aaron, since this is from your neck of the woods, a lot of it, I'm going to expect you to be on point.
I know a little bit about it. So
did you grow up on any stories?
We heard a few, but not really a whole lot. Major. I mean, I spent some time in the swamps and the woods there, and I didn't really experience anything. But you never can tell. You don't know what's out there.
You don't. My son actually claims he saw one. Well, I'm going to say I don't mean that claims. Let me tell you, if he says it, he saw it. Now, I don't know what it was, but he said he saw one actually. It was walking and it saw him and it like went up underneath something, but bit backwards to go up underneath this house.
How have I never heard this story?
Because it's freaky as hell.
Well, shit. So what? I want to hear it.
My son sees stuff.
Yeah, I know.
He sees dead people.
Yeah.
He really does. Not as much as he used to when he was younger, but I questioned him thoroughly on it, and I don't know if he saw a spirit that was just showing itself like that, or if it was really a werewolf or what. But you also know, Aaron, that land that we lived on at the time was super haunted.
Yes, it is.
It's
and I would love to do some stuff out there. I would love to
Yeah.
do some stuff out there, but I don't want to call anything to it.
Yeah, and we have relatives that still live out there, so I'm the same way. But there's tons of stuff that we have.
Yeah, I mean the little bit of time that I spent with you guys there, that I lived with you guys there, there was some shit that happened that I couldn't explain.
Yeah, Aaron just came to me one day. He's like, your house is haunted, right? Yeah.
Something pinched me in the ass. It was the weirdest damn thing. It pinched me right in the ass. I guess I've got like pancake butts, so I'm like, I can't say that whatever pinched me in the ass like my ass, but something pinched my butt.
It was up to something anyway.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. I really never thought too much about werewolves possibly being true until then.
Yeah.
And I still can't say I necessarily believe in, quote, werewolves.
Yeah.
But, if a spirit can present itself in other ways, why not that too?
Yeah, it can make itself look like anything it wants. So,
I don't know.
And even if it's not a spirit, I mean, maybe it's a fae or a fairy or something.
The Luguru is just a werewolf for the most part, with some
kinda.
differences.
Yeah.
With some differences, but it originated in France. The earliest episode of a Luguru that has been mentioned in writing was in 1200 in France.
That's been a while.
And that was actually, there's a poem called, Aaron, you might can help me with this pronunciation. How do you pronounce that? I'm sure I butchered.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you. Got no clue.
Bad Frenchman.
Yeah, hey, look.
Anyways.
Okay, look, man. Here's the thing. We moved here to Mississippi right around the time my grandfather started teaching me French. So I know like 3 words. I knew 3 words, 25 years ago, and I've forgotten them since then. Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right, so you're going to be no help.
Not with like pronunciations. I mean, come on.
Anyways, I did put that poem up on our site because it's a really interesting poem. It's about a man who is a knight, and he's very well known and loved and all this stuff, but he disappears for 3 days a week, every single week, and his wife is like, what is going on? Are you having an affair? What's going on?
Another family.
And he's like, I can't tell you because of dramatic reasons. I can't tell you. And then finally he tells her.
How'd that go again?
Because of dramatic reasons.
I wish you guys could see her face. She's like, dramatic reasons. She's got her hand up.
Drama.
She's like hand over her heart, the hands up in the air. Like, drama, dramatic reasons. Oh my God. Lip quivering and everything. It was the weirdest shit.
It's sad.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he does finally tell her, and he tells her that what happens is he goes out into the woods, he takes off his clothes, and he becomes a wolf. And then when he's ready to come back as a man, he puts his clothes on again, and then he becomes a man. There he is.
Okay.
Well, she says, where do you hide your clothes?
So what she wants to know,
She don't care.
she
He's
gets
a
told
wolf.
that shit, and she's like, well, where are you putting your clothes at?
He's like,
We don't need your clothes getting stolen, man.
He says that, well, he can't tell her because if something were to happen to the clothes, he would be stuck as a wolf.
So is it
And
like
she
a
says,
special
but
pair
you
of
can
clothes?
trust me.
So wait, is this
Apparently,
a special
it's a
pair
special
of clothes
pair of clothes because
that he
you'll
can never
see
take
later.
off, like ever? How's he going to wash? I know this
Maybe
is back
it's
in
a
the
skin
day.
suit. Maybe it's his skin suit. I don't know.
Maybe,
I had
yeah.
thought about that too because later on in the story, he has access to clothes from other people,
Yeah.
but he doesn't put them on or anything. So I don't know. Anyways,
go
so
back with this one.
back to the story. So he goes out. He becomes a werewolf. She steals his clothes, and then she calls. Who basically her boyfriend.
Whoa,
and
wait, what?
They leave this guy in the woods as a werewolf. Her and her boyfriend end up getting married. And
What? I thought
the
she was
other
already
guy-
married.
She was.
What a bitch.
But he's gone now, I guess they declared him dead or whatever.
He's not dead. He's just a wolf.
I know. But she gets hers. So then what happens is the king, who the knight was very good friends with before.
He's like, hey, where's my boy at?
Yeah, well, he's in the woods, he's hunting, and the guy comes up to him as a wolf. And he's bowing down to the king and that kind of stuff, and the king just loves him to death, and so he takes him home, and he becomes like his best pet, and all this stuff. So, but then they have this big to-do, and his wife's boyfriend comes to the king's castle, and the wolf attacks the boyfriend. And they're like, oh, I don't know what's going on. Why would he do that? He's so gentle. He would never do that. He's never attacked anybody. Okay, so the guy hurries up and leaves. Not a whole lot. They don't know what's going on yet. Then it turns out that they have another to-do, and who is there but the wife?
Ooh, that bitch.
And so he goes and he attacks the wife.
Yeah.
And then they're the same way. He's so gentle. Why would he do that? And then somebody who has a brain stands up and says, they're married to each other. He never attacked anybody except for those two. What did they do to this wolf? And so he said to the king, as you do, you should torture these two so that we can get the truth out of them. What did they do to the wolf?
That's the best thing to do to people. Just torture the shit out of them until they tell you what you want to hear.
Exactly. That's something you say.
Nobody expects a Spanish Inquisition. There you go.
So basically they torture them, and the wife says, okay, he's a werewolf, and this is blah, blah, blah. She tells them. Yep. So they have her bring the clothes. And they put the clothes there at the wolf's feet. And, of course, the wolf just looks at them and looks at them, and then the smart guy is like, oh, but he won't do it while you're watching him. He can't put the clothes on and be a werewolf and become human while you're watching him. We have to give him privacy.
That's like you remember the movie Mystery Men?
I never saw it.
It's fantastic. It's stupid as hell. It's cheesy as shit. But there's this one dude, he's like, I can turn invisible as long as I'm naked and no one's looking at me. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's exactly what's going on here.
So anyways, they take him to the king's chambers, and they give him a little while. They open up the door, and he's asleep on the bed as a man. And they're like, oh, there you are, my best buddy. I didn't know. And, anyways, so that's basically the story. It's actually a cool little poem, but, I don't do it any justice. Nah, I don't do it.
I mean, it's freaking hilarious the way we did it, but I love it.
We have it on our site if you want to check it out. Bisclavre or something. Somebody tell me how to pronounce that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Aaron, what do you know? What do you know good?
Well, I know that the Luguru would come and snatch you up out of the house if you were bad.
Yeah.
I know a little bit more.
Especially if you're a bad little kid.
Well, I mean, the way the story goes in Cajun French country, Cajun folklore, I guess we should call it, is if you broke lint for 7 years, you became the Luguru.
Yeah.
And you were the Luguru for like 100 days.
101.
101 days. 101 days. And you were the Luguru, but the curse would be passed on to someone else, but you had to bite them, scratch them, something like that. Something crazy. But
draw blood of some in any way.
The way that like it was taught to us, and we found out about it, is if you were bad, the Luguru was going to come get you. It's like the boogeyman. That's basically what it was. It's like, hey, this is what's going to happen. Boogeyman's going to come and get you, but it was the Luguru. So I mean, there's no beautiful poems that I know of where some knight turned into it. It's just Catholics were like, hey,
not in your neighborhood, huh?
Yeah, for real, right? Catholics were just like, look, if you're bad, if you don't observe Lent, and look, it wasn't like the first time either. You had to break the rules of Lent for 7 years.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie to you right now. I'm not going to lie to you, but if
you are a Luguru by now,
I would be a Luguru. So, I mean, that's the thing about it.
You are awful hairy.
I am. Well, my back's not really hairy, but, according to you, I smell really bad. So, yeah. But,
the farts.
I mean, that's the thing about it. I don't know too much about the Luguru, the origin story. All I know is, you're going to get taken away by it if you're bad.
Well, basically, it did begin in France.
Yeah.
And the way that it happened there, though, they did have really bad problems with wolves, especially in the wintertime when there wasn't much to eat. And the wolves would actually drag people out, and they'd eat them. Yeah. They would eat, the kids, the weak people, or anybody, who's out there. And that's how it basically got started because of these wolves. And there was one instance where they had this wolf that was way bigger than the other wolves they had ever seen. And I can't remember a whole lot of details about that, but they did eventually get the wolf. But, they thought that was a werewolf because it was so big and that kind of thing. So basically, those French people, when they came to the Americas, they came through Canada first and then came down into Louisiana. Yep. And so it's the same stories or very similar stories in Canada and like Quebec as Quebec.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that how it's pronounced?
No, I don't know because I watch a show on Hulu called Letterkenny named Letterkenny.
Yes.
And they go to Quebec and like the four friends that go, they each say Quebec in a different way.
Oh.
One says Quebec, one says Quebec, one says Quebec, and one says Quebec. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. It's habit with the friend circle that I've got whenever we do stupid. Whenever we say something like that, it's like if you ever say to be fair, you can expect me to be like, to be fair. Just have to watch the show and you'll get it.
I have seen it. I've not watched the show. I've seen where it's on Hulu, but I haven't watched
hilarious.
it yet.
I love it.
But I'll try it out. But anyways, so when they came to the Americas, there's no wolves in Louisiana. Okay. I'm sure there are in Quebec. There's no wolves native to Louisiana. Now, there may be wolves in Louisiana at this point, but they weren't native to Louisiana.
Here's going to be something kind of crazy for me. Maybe this is where the story of the Luguru came from. In Canada, they've got the Windigo. Uh-huh. So you've got these native
Well,
French.
That's not just Canada.
Well, yeah.
It's Native American, but yeah.
It's Native American, but it's in cold climates, the north. That's why I'm mainly saying Canada. So you've got these Frenchmen that come in, and they tell their story about people turning into wolves, and then it just merges in with the Windigo. Mm-hmm. And then whenever they migrate south to Acadiana, into Louisiana, they bring the story of the Windigo pretty much with them, but it's not really the Windigo anymore.
Yeah, and that does have a little bit of a bearing on it. Mm-hmm. The Windigo, honestly, I find the Skinwalker to be so much more similar to the werewolf because I've read that too, and I can understand where they come from. But I don't know. I think that there's probably a lot of things that go in. Yeah, they were. Yeah,
they're regular people. They become cannibals and they become Wendigos afterwards because they're cursed, which is similar to the
Skinwalker and to the
Luguru.
The Luguru. So, but the difference is with the Luguru is. The Luguru is viewed among Native Americans as being a natural phenomena, where, yes, it is, because I read this. If I read it, it's got to be true.
That's on the
Anyways, and the Windigo is viewed more as an evil thing.
I can understand. You see, the reason I made that face was I can see it being a natural thing, but maybe it's not something that is supernatural.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a normal person who gets rabies.
You never know. I mean, there's been so many situations where things you can blame things on people thinking that werewolves were true. I mean, you have the people with the I forgot what it's called now, but they have hair all over their faces. They look like a werewolf. Then you've got the people who think that they're werewolves and they live like what you would think a werewolf would live. So it just depends.
And then you have the real life shit. Then you have the real life shit where on full moons, and I can attest to this. You can. Crazy shit happens. People go freaking nuts. They lose their damn minds.
They really do. There's something definitely there with the full moon.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. So I can see how...
I think there's so many different things that come into play. But the interesting thing is that without any wolves in Louisiana, the Luguru kind of became more of a dog man kind of kind of creature. But, also said that it was a wolf. It just depends on who you ask, basically. And it doesn't even have to be that. There were owl men and, pig men and all kinds of stuff. And it would still be called the Luguru.
And there's going to be stories from that. It's like, oh, let me go through this pig over here, so now there's going to be pig men.
Yeah.
Because people back in the day didn't know that you couldn't breed a man and a pig.
Right.
But, if Joe the goat gets caught having sex with a goat, now all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, we're going to have goat men around here.
Could be. You never know. You never know. But it's...
So every dude that I know named Joe, I'm not talking about you. That was just the first name that popped into my head. I'm sorry.
One thing that I found interesting, though, is during that 101 days when the Luguru is under the curse, I found a couple of different things. I did find the same thing you did, where it said if they drew somebody else's blood, the curse will be passed on. But I also found where if, let's say, Aaron, you're the Luguru and you're out and you're in the werewolf, disguise or not disguise, whatever. Anyways, and I'm in the woods and I come upon you and I'm like, kind of looks like Aaron. And I take a knife and I swat you across the nose with it, so you got a little blood. Yeah. Then you automatically turn back into Aaron, and I'm like, and then we both have to go our separate ways, or we both continue on with the curse.
That's a little bit weird.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different stories.
That's a little bit
about
odd.
it. Yeah, you have to be quiet, because if you say anything, the curse is going to get you.
It's like the whole thing. I think we've covered this story before, where I had sunstroke. My dad used to peddle fruit. I don't know if I've ever told you this, then, apparently. So my dad, he got a peddler's license. We went to a fruit stand and our fruit factory, whatever the shit it is. We bought a bunch of fruit, put it on the truck, and we would go to neighborhoods and sell the shit. Well, one day I was out in the sun too long, and I got sunstroke. It's kind of like heat stroke, I guess, but I don't know. The next day, I couldn't move. I just felt like shit. I couldn't move. Everything hurt. My grandfather came and said, Aaron, you need to come with me. So I went with him. And we went to, I can't remember her name now. Shit. Can't remember it now. But it's a woman that everyone knew. She's a very nice woman, little bitty white woman, older. She wasn't like super old, but she was older. And
kind of like a witchy woman?
No. She's a good practicing Catholic, went to church every Sunday, but she knew shit. So my grandfather let her know what was going on, and I go to her, and he's with me, and she explains what she's going to do. She's going to say a prayer over me, and she's going to do a few things, and if all goes well, I'm going to feel better. I'm like, okay, hey, the way I feel right now, I'll do pretty much anything.
How old were you?
I couldn't have been more than 12.
Okay.
So she says, at the end of it, you just need to leave. You can't say anything to me. You just need to get up and leave. Because if you say thank you to me, it's all going to go away, and it's going to come back even worse. So I'm like, well, what the fuck is going on here?
Weird.
So she rubs my head, and I had a full head of hair at the time, beautiful hair. And she rubs my head, and she's doing just this.
That's what he remembers, his hair.
Yeah, I do, man. I had fantastic hair. But she starts right around my eyebrows, and she grips my head, and she pulls up. And she just keeps doing this while she's saying a prayer. And I shit you not, while she's doing this, I can feel myself getting better.
Wow.
During this process, she just starts sweating profusely, like a ton of sweat. It was a warm day. But she's just sweating like she just ran a friggin' marathon. She's like, yeah, you had it bad. Basically, what she said she was doing was drawing the sickness from me into her.
That's what I
And then
figured.
she was getting rid of it.
Wow.
I was there for 5 friggin' minutes. After 5 minutes, I got up and I walked away. When practically my grandfather had to carry me to this place.
Wow.
Got up and walked away, felt fantastic.
And never got sick from it?
No.
The next few days you were good still?
Absolutely nothing.
Wow, that's cool.
Absolutely nothing. So there's some shit out there.
Yeah. There really is.
I forget where we were going with this, but I had to tell
I
you
would
that
have
story.
liked to have studied under her.
Hey, I can't even
That's
remember her
pretty cool.
name now. She's got to be dead now, because my grandfather was old, and she was maybe 5 years younger than him. So she's got to be dead now, unless she's like Marie Laveau, where she just lives forever.
Never know.
But yeah, I remember that shit. She just did this, said a couple of prayers, and I felt fantastic.
But she was a prim, proper little Catholic lady. That's funny.
It's the weirdest shit in the world. Yeah, I can't believe I never told you that story.
No, I never heard it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
So where were we at? I'm sorry.
We were talking about you can't share what you found out with the wolf and all that. You got to be quiet.
Yeah, that kind of reminds me of that. I'm sorry. That kind of reminds me of that.
Well, it's an interesting story.
Where you can't talk about it, or else it's going to come back worse. So
maybe there's something to that whole not talk about.
That's some real shit. And I've always wanted to tell the woman. I always wanted to go there and say, "Hey, thank you for doing that." But I've always been afraid. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, she told you not to. So.
Exactly. Yeah, and I felt like shit. I felt absolutely like shit because when she was done, she's like, "Okay, I'm done." I wanted to say it so bad, but I just walked away, got up and walked away. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's shit to that where we're going to do something and you can't say anything about it because, if you do, something bad's going to happen. Well, and
it could have had something to do too. Now, Aaron, with the whole taking what comes from taking thank yous for yourself when you don't really do something. It comes more from the spiritual world.
Yes. I'm thanking her when the real power came from somewhere else. Yeah, I can understand.
That's probably where that comes from.
I can understand that.
Because I know the way that I grew up, and I can't remember some scriptures and stuff that, if you have a gift, you weren't supposed to accept thank yous for it. Maybe you're great at drawing. Yeah. Well, it's not you. That comes from the spirit world allowing you to be able to draw really well. So if you say, "Oh, thank you," and, then you're accepting that it's you and it's not really you. Yeah. Kind of like that.
Yeah, I can understand that. I understand that completely.
But that's one of the coolest stories I've heard. Why haven't I heard that one before?
I don't know. I guess it just never came up. Like, hey, Aaron, were you ever... I'm going to call it what it is. I think maybe she was practicing voodoo.
Yeah.
Hey, Aaron, have you ever been healed by a voodoo priestess? Well, yeah. Well, let me tell you the story about that, Angel.
They don't. Well, they don't. And they don't. People don't always look like what you think they would.
Yeah, exactly. Because you see this
the
woman.
People you would least consider.
You say, "Hey, look, I'm going to go visit a voodoo priestess." If I tell you right now, we're going to go visit a voodoo priestess, what are you going to picture?
Well, she's not going to be white. Yeah. And she's going to be probably, have feathers and maybe even some little bones or something, necklace or something like that. And
you're not going to picture her as a Catholic either. Most people
the wrap on the head. And
most people wouldn't picture them as Catholic either.
No.
But a lot of voodoo practitioners are Catholic.
Well, it goes in together.
Yes, exactly.
Voodoo and Catholicism does go together, but you wouldn't really picture it as a prim proper little old white lady. Okay, so
I've read some other stuff where it's like how the Luguru is just Bigfoot.
I've seen that too, and I can see where they kind of go in together, especially, but it's not the same thing, but especially if you look at like the Honey Island swamp monster. Yeah. That's more of a Bigfoot-like thing, but they like to lump it in with the Luguru, if you've noticed. Yeah. I don't know if you noticed that in your research. But it's interesting, too, because at some point in the 16th century, at some point back in France, they started to think that the whole Luguru thing was more of a genetic thing. Of course, they didn't know about DNA and all that, but that it was passed down from father to child or mother to child or whatever. So they thought that for quite a long time. I don't know when exactly that kind of faded out, but it's interesting that they used to actually think that. Yeah. And that when they were thinking that, they thought that you had to have... Not only did you have to have that genetic component, but that something had to trigger it in your life, like some kind of trauma. Yeah. So maybe if you don't have that trauma, you may not ever become one. But if you have that trauma, then you do. And also that, once that trauma happened, you would start developing a craving for raw meat. And that once you actually took a bite of human flesh, then you transform.
Yeah, you're done. So, and that goes back to the whole Windigo thing.
Yeah. It does.
So
very similar. One thing that was really interesting to me too is that we think about the witches being murdered in Salem and in England and all that. 30,000 potential Lugurus were killed.
She said it.
I did, between the 1520s and the 1630s.
Really?
30,000.
Damn.
I mean, it was that big of a thing. So that's like bigger than the whole witch trial thing.
But no one ever hears about it. I didn't know. No,
you don't. Well, it goes back so far, I guess, is why. But and two, we just don't take the whole werewolf thing seriously nowadays. But I thought that was really interesting because I had no idea. I knew it was big, but I had no idea really how big it was.
I didn't realize it was that bad either. That's insane. That's unreal right there almost. I mean, that's absolutely batshit crazy. But yeah. That's another thing about the Luguru also. I mean, hopefully you can use some magic of editing and bring this to the part where we're talking about it, missing Lent for 7 years. You don't observe Lent for 7 years. Some of the stuff that I've read is that the Luguru would actually seek out people that weren't observing Lent to try to pass a curse onto them. So that was the whole... I don't know if it was a church that put it out or, just some rogue priest wanting more people to observe Lent that said, hey, look, if you don't do this, the Luguru going to come and get you. But that's what it was. You're not observing Lent, so you're going to turn into this vile, blah.
You'll turn into a vowel.
Yeah. You're going to turn into this vile beast, and you're going to hurt your family, pretty much.
Yeah, and that's one thing, too, is the Luguru goes for the people it loves the most first. It's not like the Luguru is supposed to maintain a lot of its human faculties while it's in transition. It's supposed to be very intelligent, like you were before, if you were before. You never know. So, and yeah, they go towards their family members and loved ones first. Whereas a werewolf, you're not really supposed to know what's going on when you're transformed. It's all a surprise to you when you find out you're a werewolf.
Oh, no, I'm a werewolf. I did bad shit.
And you don't necessarily go for the ones that you love the most. Yeah. One thing that I have not been able to find a whole lot on, I don't know if you've heard of it. Have you heard of the werewolf ball?
Ball?
Yeah.
B-A-L?
B-A-L-L.
No.
Well, there's supposed to be something where there's this ball that werewolves attend, or Luguru, sorry, not werewolf ball, Luguru ball. Anyways, that they attend, and it's supposed to be in this place called Bayou Gula, which I don't know. I mean, I don't even know where that is. I don't know if it came from a fiction book or if it's one of those things that people really believe. I just found a little bit about it, but I was hoping you knew a little bit about that.
No, I've never heard of it, but Bayou Gula is an actual real place.
It is?
Yeah, it's an unincorporated community and census-designated place in Iberville Parish, Louisiana. Its population was 612 as of the 2010 census. Bayou Gula is a name derived from the Choctaw language meaning river people. So that's a real place. Yeah,
because Pascagoula, which is where I'm from, means bread people in Choctaw. So the gula is the people, and the pasca would be bread. And okay, that makes sense.
I get this right here. Is one method of becoming a werewolf was to wear a cloak or belt made of wolf skin. The story may have some basis in fact. Some Vikings and other marauders really did wear the skins of fierce animals, not just to stay warm, but also because they believed they could absorb the animal's ferocity. Not only that, but that's an intimidating factor. If you see a freaking bear running at you with a sword and a shield, you're going to shit yourself.
Yeah, you are not going to just stand there for sure. Yeah, that goes back, as far back as the Luguru goes in France. They go back even further in Germany.
Yeah.
When, the first...
So pretty much barbarians and
What was his name? Peter Stump, I think his name was. He was actually torn to bits because they thought he was a werewolf. So, and that's what they thought in Germany, is that there was a wolf skin that you put on and it turned you into a werewolf. Or that there was an ointment that you put on your body that would turn you into one. But,
or it's in like the French poem, it's a human skin that you put on. The wolf puts on a human skin, pretty much. Because that's what I see. Well, from the poem that you just read or talked about a little bit ago.
Yeah, I mean,
that's kind of what I derive from it.
Yeah.
It's a wolf putting on human skin.
It's got to be.
Because they never really talk about the clothes. I mean, you would wear other clothing. Mm-hmm. It's like, why is Pierre always wearing the same shit?
While he was with the king, he had access to other clothes. So
it's got to be. It's got to be like in Men in Black.
And I mean, why would she just save a pair of jeans that she?
Yeah, it's like in Men in Black, and he's wearing. It's the Roach is wearing an Egger suit. So. Yeah, it's got to be human skin that the wolf is putting on.
I don't know. Maybe we'll find more about the whole bayou gula thing. We'll see.
The Luguru is like a really, really broad topic.
If you ever find yourself face to face with a Luguru, what do? You could cut it into pieces, like you said. That's one of the most thorough ways.
Yeah, cut them off the head off.
But there's some other really strange things, okay? You can throw salt on it, and it'll just set on fire.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you see, that was back in the day when salt was like super rare too. So,
and it's considered to be so pure.
It's pure, yeah. I know.
Or you can off with its head.
Yeah, cut it right off.
Cut it off. Or my favorite, carry an alligator man effigy with you. It's got the head of an alligator and the body of a man, but depends on who you ask, because some say that calls the Luguru to you, so you're 50-50. Maybe it'll help.
Maybe it'll help. Maybe you're just like, hey, dinner time, here I am.
Exactly.
That's good shit. So, I mean, maybe there's alligator head people out there. Pierre's been having sex with some alligators.
You never know. So, the funniest thing I found about Lugurus are they're terrified of frogs.
What?
But they live in the swamp.
How the shit can you be terrified of frogs and you live in the damn swamp?
Thank you. So, we've got a song that we're going to play at the end of this called, what is it called? Luguru Bagula, actually. Yeah. By a man named Willie DeVille, who is now passed away, but it's a cool little song. But I'm going to read this little bit about, it comes from that song. It says, should you happen to be along the Mississippi in Louisiana's Bayou Gula on St. John's Eve, some summer when the Luguru gather on the bayou banks to dance at the Bayou Gula, you would be wise to keep your eyes averted and have a measure of salt on hand, if not, also a flamethrower. But if...
Yeah, there you go. You got a flamethrower. That's like the whole thing with zombies. Everyone's like, I want a flamethrower with a zombie. Well, congratulations, you dumb shit. Now you got a zombie that's on fire chasing you.
Yeah.
Nothing we just read said that fire destroys the Luguru.
No, it didn't.
So now you just got a pissed off Luguru that's on fire chasing your ass.
But
looks like freaking Richard Pryor running after you.
But if through the bald cypress trees, and I just got that.
You like that? You know, some of our older listeners are going to get that, and they're going to think it's absolutely hilarious.
Oh, gosh.
The younger ones are going to be like, who's Richard Pryor?
Yeah. But if, through the bald cypress trees and rank Spanish moss, you spy a red-eyed Luguru and are low on other ammunition, you can always try hurling any nearby frogs at it.
Let me just walk around with a bunch of dead frogs.
Oh, that's good.
I wonder if frog skins would work.
You might turn into a frog.
No, I'm talking like, because you're not going to walk around with like a bunch of live frogs.
Like just frog skins
you can
in your
get like
pocket.
15 or 20 frog skins in the space of one frog.
Well, why don't you try it?
I might. It's the dumbest shit in the world.
Okay. All right. So another way that you can actually get rid of a Luguru is a carved steak from a cypress tree dipped in dead man's blood, and then you stab the Luguru through the heart.
Yeah, because, you just got some of that shit laying around, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I can get a cypress steak pretty freaking easy.
But the dead man's blood...
Where are you going to get the dead man's blood?
Well, you could get it pretty easy, but it probably wouldn't be a good thing to do.
Now you're going to be charging murder. Just carry some freaking frogs, people. Carry a couple
frogs
of
or salt.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, Salt the Frog.
Salt the Frog.
We both had the same idea at the same time. We looked at each other, eyebrows like, yeah, just fill a frog skin full of salt and throw that shit. It's going to explode on impact.
You will not have to worry about Lugurus anymore.
You can take out 10, maybe 15 Lugurus with that shit.
It'll be like an atomic bomb.
Exactly. Oh, my. I don't know how they would die. Would it be like in our...
Oh, that would, so, I'm dying. Oh, Elizabeth.
Super dramatic.
I'm coming for you.
Or would it be like in Raiders of the Lost Ark where their face melts and shit like that?
Oh, I prefer to think of it like the Fred Sanford. Elizabeth, I'm coming for you.
Elizabeth.
You know, that's not where I started out with that a second ago, but I had to go into that because I just thought about it.
Yeah, that's good shit right there.
Okay.
We think of the dumbest shit.
Now,
right?
Speaking of dumb shit, you can also lay 13 small objects by your doors because they can only count up to 12.
So this dumb shit can't come inside.
And continue on counting in a loop to try to figure out 13.
This is what you do, people. Since this is our 13th episode, you record one episode on each tape and you put it outside, so it's got to listen to all 13, but you can only get to 12. And then it's like,
what?
Well, what the shit? Yeah. Does this thing only have like 13 toes or some shit, or 12 toes?
That's when you hit them with the salt frog.
We got to come up with a better name for that. Frog salt, salt frog. Sog.
I don't know that there is a better name for that.
Faulty? Nah. Yeah, salt frog. We'll go with salt frog. I just
Either way,
went stupid with it.
Okay. So this seems like the most effective thing ever here. I mean, why would this not work? You could also roll up a leaf from the swamp, put it in your wallet. That does it. That takes care of the
So now you're safe from a Luguru.
From a leaf in your wallet.
If you've got a leaf
What if
from
you
the
don't
swamp?
have a wallet?
Well, what kind of leaf?
You have to put it in your wallet. Yeah, what kind of leaf? I don't know.
Is it a cypress leaf? Is it a bay leaf? Is it a friggin' oak leaf?
Doesn't specify. So a lot of the what people actually used to do, and apparently you would see it in some houses years ago, is they would paint a hexagon shape in the middle of the floor and stand in it and say protective prayers. So you'd have like just a hexagon in the middle of the floor. Now,
it was always bay leaves.
What will not work is a silver bullet, because that was actually pretty much invented by the guy who wrote the 1941 film The Wolfman. I'm gonna try to say it, but I'm gonna butcher it. Kurt Siodmak.
Sounds good to me.
Siodmak. I mean, they had talked about silver bullets before, but it had never been said that anybody knows of that the silver bullet actually killed the werewolf.
Everyone knows, thanks to Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, that's for vampires.
I never did see that.
That's the stupidest shit in the world. It's a fantastic movie, don't get me wrong, but it's pretty damn stupid. But... okay.
And, you know, there's celebrations of the Luguru all over the place. Apparently there's a Luguru festival in Homa. Is it Homa or Homa? Homa. I thought it was Homa.
Yeah.
In Homa, Louisiana. So we need to go to that, too. And there's probably other ones. That's just the only one that I really saw that specifically
it's like
said.
every now and then you'll see people dressed up in Luguru costumes for some of the Mardi Gras balls and shit like that. So... yeah,
and we're going to be coming upon that time of year before you know it.
Yeah. Yep, we're trying to protect you people. So carry around some frogs.
So that's our little Luguru show. We'll do one later on that'll have more detail probably, but that's like the tip of the, just the first little crust. I'd like to
most
get
of the stuff that we do. I don't know if they've realized
we'll cover in more detail.
Yeah,
later.
we're going to cover it in more detail later, because what we're actually telling you guys is just to get your interest piqued in it. Hopefully, you're looking some of this stuff up on your own. Tell us what you want us to cover, and we'll do our best to do it. But we don't have an infinite amount of time to cover everything.
Imagine that.
Yeah, I wish we could just stay on the air 24/7 talking about all this paranormal shit, but we can't. We're people, or are we?
I'm just going to remain silent on that one.
Now, apparently I'm a stinky Luguru. Yeah, I'm not going to let you live that shit down, Angel.
Well, we're related, so I guess if you're one, I am too.
That's good stuff.
Okay.
And hey, by the way, if we saved your life tonight telling you how to get rid of a Luguru...
Don't thank us. Don't say anything.
No. If we saved your life by telling you how to destroy a Luguru, you're welcome.
Yeah, but don't say anything.
Yeah, don't say anything.
Don't you say anything, he's going to come back and get you.
Bitch, I want to hear it all. Tell us. I want to hear that we saved your life.
No, don't thank us. Anyways, so now we have a little story that Aaron is going to tell you about the Luguru. It's from a book called Roland Evans Robinson's Danvers Folk. It's a book from 1894.
Now wait till I tell you about the Luguru. Ah, that was a bad thing. It makes me scared to think of it ever since I was a little boy, and the old men and the old women told of it. Then would sit and squeeze around the fire and be scared to look behind us to see the shadow creep on the floor and jump on the wall for fear it might be the Luguru. What species of predatory animal are these loose garooses, Anton? Do they have anything like the human nature of the ordinary wolf, or of Lucifer, or of a woolly yin? It's a kind of cat. Or what? Salon, they were devils more than anything, said the Canadian in an awe-stricken voice. Devil. Sometimes they were men just like anybody. And then they would be the wolves. Oh, much more than wolves. They catch dead men in graveyards and eat them. They catch live men and eat them too. Oh, they were awful. I believe they haven't got them anymore in Canada now. But in the old times, they had them. One time, my great-grandmother got so old she made up her mind she would die. And my grandfather was to go for the priest in the night, a long way through the woods. And he was driving along the trail, couldn't hear any noise except the snow scrunching under the running of the horse's feet. Well, sir, my grandparee was driving along and not thinking about much except for hurry fast. He was going along a smooth road through these woods when his horse began begging him to slow down, and he couldn't make it go fast, for all he whipped it. The horse just pulled hard like he was drawing more than a 2-ton load, and sweated so much he smoked like a steamboat and melted the snow on the road with each drop of its sweat. By and by, my grandparee looked behind him and saw a great big black dog, maybe a wolf, and he didn't whether it was or not, with its 4 feet on the back end of the train, and he pulled back harder than the devil. My grandparee was mad, even more scared than he was mad, and he stuck that thing with his whip, and that thing jumped right on the train and put his 4 feet on my grandfather's shoulder. It was so heavy, it almost squashed him. My grandfather felt for his knife to cut it, because if you draw the blood of the Luguru, he'll turn back into a man right away and run off. But he couldn't find his knife, and he doesn't know what he'll do. The horse was scared and ran like a holy hurricane, since the Luguru had gotten his 4 feet off the ground and can't pull them back anymore. My grandparee felt that hellish thing's hot breath freeze his neck, and his hairs brush his face like needles, and he shut his eyes so he couldn't see that awful yellow eye close to his own. And he gave himself up for dead just as that horse ran into the priest's gate, and he hollered at the priest, ran out, and said some words quick and loud, and the Luguru became a man right away, quick as a wink, and ran into the woods. My grandfather was so scared it took as much as half a pint of the priest's whiskey to bring him to. And they say there was a man, a neighbor of my grandfather, who carried a whip mark on his face for a good many days after. Roland Evans Robinson's Daverness Folk, an 1894 compilation of folk tales.
All right, so that's pretty much the episode for tonight. I do want to give a few shout-outs. First of all, I would like to give a shout-out to the Hermit Radio podcast. It's a really good podcast if you want to know more about meditation, or, you know, if you're trying to get your life in a healthier place or have a healthier outlook on things. I know one of his interviews was with a bodybuilder. Anyways, so they're a really good podcast. Check them out. Hermit Radio podcast. We also want to thank the Never Ready Media.
And Magnarb Gaming.
Yeah, and Magnarb Gaming. And that is basically our episode this week. I'm Angel.
Luguru.
Yeah.
And I'm Aaron. Don't burn the roo, guys.
Don't burn the roo.
Come with me through the doors of a bayou bottle. There's a place God's angels don't go. Satan's wolves all room large over creatures all that bad men know. Now he's a Louisiana goddamn nightmare. Cajun, don't say that. But it looks just like a rabid dog. He walks upright like a man. Say, sister, du bon ton dans ce près de feu. Ce soir, ce soir, ce soir, ce soir. Now this here black snake swims through the water. Spanish moss gently sway, and the moon high yellow like a big gold coin. In the distance, you can hear them sing. Hear them beating on a big bass drum. Hey, all the coons get high. Hear them shake and rattle, made out of human teeth. Shaking them all the time. Come on. Du bon ton dans ce peu de vieux. Ce soir, ce soir, ce soir, ce soir. It'll be another big job. Chicken rattles, made out of human teeth. Luguru, bagula, Luguru, bagula, Luguru, bagula, Luguru, bagula.